Well, good evening and welcome to the Go TAFE Golden Valley Real Deal Football Show. It's time to talk under-18s in the competition and what a start to the year it's been. Right alongside me, our main man in under-18 football right through this region, Mario Di Santa Anna. Mario, how are you, mate?
I'm great, Foxy.
Now, we haven't seen you for a fortnight, mate, but we're going to see you a couple of weeks in a row. What's been going on? I know, before we go any further, I must say this. In the first program, you alluded to the fact that you thought Benalla were going to be thereabouts come the big match at the end of the season, and I can tell you that what we'll show you now is the Benalla boys, they certainly know how to celebrate when they've had a win. Mario, good kids out there at Benalla.
Oh, look, they're sensational. They just seem to keep bringing them up, don't they?
Yeah.
And I'll just let the viewers out there know they're going to get better. They've got 3 more kids to come back in that side who have been involved in the under-16 Bushies program and haven't been able to play with their club side for the last 2 weeks. So they've got three big players coming back in over the next couple of weeks. So they'll be stronger.
Now, I must tell you before, another thing, you know Wally Armstrong, W.J. Armstrong. I accidentally called him Willie last week and he asked me, who am I, Foxy, Willie or Wally? Well, let me tell you, on Saturday, Sammy Little is the indoor-outdoor world champion record eater of pies, but I caught Wally behind the Benalla rooms getting some field practice in. 7
pies.
In between the Magoos and the ones, he got 7 down the nanny
Well,
go.
he is the reigning premiership coach, so I suppose he's got to take some liberties somewhere, and he's got a special man there next to him giving him a hand this year, and Daniel Preston, who's a top-notch operator too. So very good outfit over there. So wouldn't be surprised if they win quite a few games.
And they got the former Essendon Rover. They're giving him a bit of a chop out too.
Have they really?
Yeah, don't worry
there you
about
go.
that.
It's all happening over at Benalla.
Yeah, it is. But anyway, let's get back to the other sides. Yep.
Look, we've had 2 rounds, as you alluded to, and on the weekend we saw Benalla run out easy winners over Seymour, 130-21. Shep United got their second win on the board, 64-49 against the Marupna Cats. Euroa, they've started off the season. That's their first game for the year. They're one behind everyone else, and they won, convincingly 80-9 against Mansfield. So that's a big win for Euroa. Rochester 74 defeated Tatura 24, and the Swans, my boys, they notched up a win on the weekend. Their first one, 88 to Shepparton 74 in a close game. Echuca, in a ripper game over there, Echuca 46 defeated Kyabram 45. So that went right down to the wire. Must mention that once again this year, Alan Rosignoli from Rosignoli Real Estate on board again.
Yep.
Does a great job in sponsoring the thirds segment. And for all your real estate needs, you can give Alan or the ladies in the office a ring. They're on 58 211 277, and they'd be more than happy to help you in any way they can. And once again, they sponsored the award this year, and this week's nomination is Dylan Wagner from the Shepparton Football Club, a sensational young boy.
Good on you, Dylan.
And
well done.
I reckon we'll see a bit of him coming up the tracks later on. So the ladder, Foxy, we've got Benalla on top with 8, Echuca and Shep United in second and third with 8. Then we've got Euroa. They've started off and slipped comfortably into 4th spot after 1 win, so that's pretty good. Then we've got Kyabram, Marupna, Swans and Rochi all on 1 win, so it's pretty close as you'd expect after 2 rounds. Shepparton, Mansfield and Tatura and Seymour yet to register a win, but there's still a long way to go. So, I think the ladder will probably sort itself out over the next 6 weeks. Goal kicking, geez, we've had some big goal kickers this year, Foxy, and I think we might be in for another 50 or 60 goals for the year like we did last year.
Yep.
Young Staffy from Euroa kicked a bag. We've got Gus Byrne who barrelled 8 goals in round 1. Zane O'Donnell, he started off with a lazy 12 and followed that up with 2 more, so he's leading on 14. Jaden Clark from the Swans, he's kicked 4 and 7 in 2 games, so that's 11 for him. Brazel from Benalla, he's kicked 5. And young Greening from Marupna, he kicked 4 in the first round and 6 in the second, so he's on 10. So already after 2 rounds, we've got guys in double figures, which is a great start for thirds football.
Mario, you can't see it all week in, week out, and you can't.
Yeah.
But anybody that's out there that's got an involvement with the under-18 level, please get in touch with Mario. He's accessible any time. Sometimes we can miss some of the excellent young men that are coming up. If you've got, something that they've achieved that we don't know anything about, we'd love to be notified here so we can put it out to you.
Oh, it'd be great. And look, I just mentioned now one of the big highlights in the first 2 rounds is the Shepparton Football Club. They had 6 under-18 footballers playing in their senior squad on Saturday.
It's a fantastic achievement.
Yeah. Now, I know part of that is because, obviously player resource isn't there, but it's a great experience for those boys. And, you still got to be able to get the football and hold your own to get elevated to senior GVFL.
Well, there's no carnival game for the young men this year, and that's, to my way of thinking, that's disappointing. We'll talk more about that when it's all over and one thing and another, but... that's why it's imperative. The under-18s, Mario, and I know you're a great advocate of it, and so am I, they are the foundation builders for one of the best competitions in country Victoria. We've had young men that, you're on a first-name basis with that have gone on to bigger and better things at the highest level, but we've still retained quite a few of our super players from the under-18s at senior level. That's what football's all about, I think, is a retention of your under-18 men. Keep them, and it's a learning curve for them. And then when they get to 24, 25, they never forget how well you treat them.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Foxy. I think what we're seeing over the last couple of years, or last 4 or 5 years actually, is more of those boys sticking around a lot more. They're staying in their communities and playing for their senior clubs, which has 2 bonuses. You keep them in the community, but the second one is clubs don't have to go out and then pick up a centre forward or a full forward because they've bred their own, so to speak. So, we certainly do encourage that, and with the opportunities to play senior GVL football can only make it so much better for the kids.
All right, mate, we're going to see you next week. We won't be doubling the under-18s next week. It'll be all senior. You'll be our man for the senior job, replacing Guy Morford's got to go to China on business.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Very wealthy man, Guy Morford.
He'd be the only person from Euroa that's been to China, wouldn't he?
Well, a lot of people in Euroa can't even spell it. Did you know that?
Yeah, I didn't know that. There you go. But we wish him safe travels. I hope he's had all his shots.
Okay, well, coming up, I had the pleasure this week of tripping out to the Mansfield football ground. Well received there. They're terrific people out there. Here you'll see me here one-on-one with the president of the Mansfield Football Club, Quinton Thompson. Well, the GV Footy Show, we like to get out and about, and tonight, well, we're lucky to be over here in Mansfield. Beautiful, balmy evening here in Mansfield, and with me, the president of the Mansfield Football Club, Quinton Thompson. Quinton, how you going, mate?
Very well, Foxy. How are you?
Good as gold, mate. Look, thanks for having us here. It's wonderful to be here. We've met a few of your people today. Very friendly atmosphere here. It's old school country here in Mansfield, isn't it?
Absolutely, mate. We're a fair way away from Shep, and we're enjoying ourselves over here.
Yeah, I thought you might have a little bit of a dig at Shep before the evening was over. This is the first time I've been here at night ever, and it's certainly the first time I've been here since the ground has settled down from all the work you've done. Yeah. Gee, it's a fantastic arena to play footy on.
Oh, we're very proud of our facility, and it's only going to get better. We've got more work to do. Okay, mate. Now, we've met your coach tonight. We've had a bit of a talk to Simon. He's an old-fashioned coach, and he's got a handshake like granite, and what you see is what you get. You must be happy with him. Oh, look, we're very happy with him. He's been through a very tough time. His mum died recently, and we're proud of the job he does, and he's just a straight-up bloke. Yeah, now I also had the time to talk to another past champion, and now he's involved in coaching the seconds, in Matty Storer, terrific fellow, and a real acquisition for your club to be looking after the boys in the twos. Mate, the only thing that's wrong with Matty is we can't get him to put weight on. There's an issue there. He might need worming, but I'm not sure. Now, tell us about your playing list. Your first run out last week, you're overpowered by Benalla. I think you're not the first and only side that's going to be done to. But the boys, I watched them train tonight, they're up and about, and they're not dropping their heads at all. No, look, Benalla are a fantastic side, and I was a bit disappointed, to tell you the truth. I think we're closer than that to Benalla, but they're definitely the yardstick, and it's good for them to have the pressure. And as we go along in the year, we'll improve. Now, you've picked up one or two, and I know there's things obviously in the pipeline for the long term. Have you got a junior development program here that you've got in place for your juniors coming up? We do. 12 months ago we made a change to the Wangaratta juniors, and that's been positive for us, and it's meant that the kids are playing at a higher level than they were. They were playing pretty much amongst themselves and in the Benalla League, but we're really enjoying now playing lots of different teams at a junior level, and they're closely associated with the club. So our senior blokes go down and do coaching clinics, including our senior coaches. Now, I've been involved in a lot of footy clubs, and sometimes you do have humble years, and and you're only gauged by the support that you get. And watching your people here tonight, you've still got a fantastic crowd here in front of your social rooms. And I was talking to Simon, and he said the feeling's really good around the place. You must be, as president, you must be happy with that, mate.
Oh, look, the club's always been fantastic like that. We've got a big supporter base. It's the only way we can survive. We've only got 4,000 in the town here, as opposed to, say, Benalla, which is 15, and Shep beyond. So it's important for us to maintain a good feeling amongst our members, and our membership's up this year from last year, and we're looking forward to continuing that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Well, I can tell you right now, one thing is for sure. If you come here to Mansfield in the Eagle's nest, and it is a nest, and a magnificent nest it is, you're going to get a real competition. You're going to be greeted by friendly people. They're a great club. They'll be back on board. Don't worry. They might be a little bit down the ladder now, but they will be back. Thanks for having us, Quinton. I really appreciate it, mate.
No worries, Foxy.
Good on you.
Welcome.
Well, thank you, Quinton Thompson, and also the mighty Mansfield Football Club. A great night out there at Mansfield. Pretty chilly conditions, I can tell you, but nonetheless, it was a ripper. With me tonight to get the Go TAFE Goulburn Valley Football League show underway, Guy Morford. How are you, Guy?
David, how are you? I'm very well, thank you.
That's good. And also, John J.O. Ryan. How are you, Johnny?
I'm good, Foxy. It's lovely to be here, and it's lovely to be sitting beside Morph once again.
My word it is. Let's have a look at the results from on the weekend's games. It was Benalla, 40-point winners over Seymour. Great game of football. That Seymour were with them till half-time and then ran out of gas. It was the Swans by 47 points over Shepparton. In a surprise inaccuracy by United, Marubna ended up running away 39-point winners, and Rochi, way too good for Tatura.
Did you pick United?
By 71 points. Yes, I did, John. Thank you very much. And Kyabram, 51-point winners over the luckless Echuca and Euroa. Big winners at home over Mansfield.
Did you pick Mansfield there, Joe?
Injury-ridden.
Foxy, Mansfield, did you pick?
No, I didn't. I was privy to the interview that I had with Quinton, and I knew they were in a little bit of trouble, so I did go for...
You picked them on this show.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you,
Thanks, Johnny.
The top-rating show in the world, you'll see who I took. Before we get into this week's game, a couple of Cheerios I've got to go out to. One, Peter Robinson down there at Seymour came up and said how much he liked the show. John, it's a bit of a thrill when you get to the footy and people come up and say g'day. And of course, my most beautiful niece, Caitlin, is watching this show down in Brunswick in Melbourne. Hello, Caitlin. How are you, you beautiful thing? And thank you for watching. And what about you, Guy? You got a couple of Cheerios
I've got a couple of Cheerios, Foxy. One out to a lovely young fellow in Euroa, Timmy Scarlett. Timmy's a hard-working non-footballer, but does boundary umpiring for us every week, away and home. And cheerio to you, Timmy, because you're a good young fella. And also, too, I better give one to my lovely wife, Emma Morford, who played her 300 games netball for Euroa on the weekend.
That's a wonderful effort, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fantastic achievement. And how did you celebrate it, Guy, or was that for a late show weekend?
Well, they gave her a bunch of flowers, and then that was all about what we did.
No R-rated stuff here.
No, I agree with you. You looked into it that way, but Timmy's actually Spanner Williams' boss, is he not?
And some.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Oh, there you
Johnny,
go.
you got a couple of Cheerios
Yes,
for us?
I got a phone call through the week last week from Albury Foxy, from Margaret and Russell Telford, who sit up and watch the show every week and absolutely enjoyed. And an ex-footballer in Melbourne, Stevie Ellis, rang up through the week and said he thoroughly enjoys the show, boys, and keep up the good work. So that's our Cheerios from this week. And don't forget, if you want to get a Cheerio, if you see Morph, myself, or Foxy the Footy, just come up, tell us your name and that, and we'll send you a Cheerio.
Alrighty. Well, Guy, I'm going to start with you. You got a bit of a job to do out there at Euroa. Mansfield, depleted by injuries, nonetheless a solid win for the Black and White boys.
Yeah, they were, Foxy. They were depleted by injuries, Mansfield, obviously, but take nothing away from Euroa getting over the line by 85 points. It was a good start for Euroa. Yeah, I mean, look, Mansfield obviously had a fair few, five blokes out from their side in Boone, Sheehan, Herridge and Burberry. So that obviously from the start was going to make it, put them up against it a little bit. But full credit to the Euroa boys, blokes like Ash Hobbs, 3 goals. The coach Gilliland kicked 3 goals. The new bloke from Murchison put 2 in the big sticks. The pleasing thing for Euroa is we had a lot of 1-goal kickers, so there was a really good spread of goal kickers throughout the day.
You had 10, Morph, which is a good spread.
And that's a pleasing sign for Euroa. Paddy Horsburgh, boys, best on ground by far. His game on the weekend was probably as good as I've seen him play at the club. Changed his role a little bit at Euroa this year. They're starting to pay him off a back flank, similar like a Sheldon and Luby role. And his kick and his deep, long, penetrating kicks was what really set Euroa up for the day.
Guy, tell us a little bit about the ruckman, new boy to the club, and I know that he's come up against Mark Jones, a campaigner. And how did Echuca go? Johnny was good.
Sorry. Yeah, no, Johnny was very good in the ruck on the weekend. Jones is a quality ruckman in this league, but he's got the ability, this bloke, and when you watch him, he actually wins the tap a little bit like Nat Nui, and then wants to get the second and third footy.
Yeah.
I think, and this will come, I think what will develop him as a ruckman in this league is the more big grabs he can take around the ground, but he was sensational on the weekend.
Snowden and Bella were pretty good for you?
Bell was good. Bell's been given our captaincy this year, so I think giving him that role, he really embraced it on the weekend and stood up. Yeah, and Snowden, look, he's a bit of a seasoned campaigner at Euroa now, 4 or 5 years, and he was good. Look, the coach was good. He stood up and led from the front. Tom Sharp, a bloke from the VFL, he was really good as well. Benny Barker, a fellow who's come from Whittlesea, had a good job to do on Bashevsky and really did it well. Shut him down, and at half time, I think Bashevsky went off with an injury. So,
on the Mansfield side, what positives come out of it, Guy, or who played well from?
Yeah, look, I think Simon Dolling's still got some. They've still got a bit of work to do over there, but in saying that too, when you've got blokes like Boone, Sheen, and we mentioned them, 5 of their best players, they were probably up against it a little bit. One thing I had noted from the day was I think they're just lacking that key forward, and the good thing for Euroa was we got on top of Fagan early, and that really hurt. And so once he was sort of taken out of the game, Mansfield lacked that key forward, which in turn obviously was lacked their scoring opportunity. Look, there were some really good plays for Mansfield on the day. Cousins was best for them, Blackburn, Ayres, Croxford, Damasi, and Jones, their ruckman, battled hard as he always does. And the biggest thing for Mansfield was losing Bashevsky at half time. Euroa really sort of seemed to be able to kick on after that.
He's a great player, Johnny. He'd leave a big hole with Bashevsky.
Oh, yeah, he does. And the kid that played well for him last year was Travis Hines, and I think he went pretty well again.
He was good. Yeah, he was in their best, Hines. So all in all, look, it was a good win for Euroa, and I think there's still a lot of positives to come out of Mansfield, and obviously getting those 5 back will help their stocks.
Johnny, we went up and had a look at Benalla, a powerful unit up against Seymour. Great game till half time. What were your thoughts there?
Yeah, look, it was a really good game of football at Benalla. I thoroughly enjoyed up to half time. Well, look, probably the whole game, Foxy, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but a point of difference at half time, and you think, gee, this is anyone's game. And Josh Mellington, once again, he's kicked 6. He's got 12 for the year so far, so look, he's been really good. But the move was, and they're probably 12 months too late with it, but they moved Lockie Smith from the back line to the forward line. He's gone down there and kicked 4 and was just really, really good. He took a heap of catches. Foxy had no one down there to take him out. I still think they're playing Nick Warnell out of position. I think he's a full forward. I reckon Mellington is quite capable of moving up the ground and playing like a Roman commission. I think he'd be very, very hard to handle in that position. I reckon Nick sort of looks lost up around centre forward. Tommy O'Brien, I liked his game. He kicked 3 goals. He was really good. But the Martin boys, Foxy, were the ones that impressed me. Sam Martin, he was fantastic. But James Martin was the bloke that really impressed me. I thought his game was terrific. Brooke Martin down back was very, very good. Young special mention to Zach Paul-Pratt on the wing there, Fox, in that second quarter when he buggered up a kick, but then he went over and he played 3 tackles and he kept the ball in their forward line. It was a really, really good effort. Marchbank in the ruck was really, really good, and Jake Paul-Pratt across the half-back line along with Ryan Colbert was very good for Seymour. Oh, look, they're going to be a good side team. Don't worry about that. Sard, Jason Cole and Matty O'Keefe to come back in the outside. But Paul Colbert was an interesting one. Foxy at full back. He looked a bit proppy. I think his knees are really giving him a bit of a trouble. Brent Colbert looked to be back to his old self across the half-back line. Brett Meredith, what a player this bloke is. He is an absolute gun. Dylan Skirple was another one who got his hands on the ball a bit, and I thought he played very well from Bongetti. I think all he needs now is some match practice. He just looks a little bit underdone, but I reckon let's have a look at him and revisit him in about 3 or 4 weeks, and I think we'll be talking about this bloke. He looks pretty good. Donny Russo in the first quarter. Foxy kicked those 2 goals. He had a hand on another one. He was really, really good in the first quarter. Adrian McCartney, I think he did a job on Morgan. I thought he was pretty good. And Paul Scanlon, back into the club, he was probably their best player. Had a heap of it. But look, I think Seymour, they're a top 4 side. I think they are. And but Benalla, they're just a very, very good side.
The scary thing is too, Jars, just looking at a couple names, and the good thing for Luke Morgan is they've still got blokes like Al Jacker and Jordan Wolfe to come back into that side.
Oh, yeah.
So that they are really going to be an unbelievable side this year.
Oh, but the shoe also fits on the same in relation to Seymour too. Gee, they had some ability. Sard never played. Cole never played. The 2 O'Keefe boys.
Yeah.
What's his name? Not back from Coburg.
Jake Lorraine.
They're all class acts. I tell you, Seymour, get them a bit fitter, a little bit harder. They're all right.
I think their fitness is okay. Their ball movement in the first half was outstanding, but then Benalla had the ability to shut them down. They did it and did it very well.
I think too, all Seymour need to do, I mean, we know what Seymour's history's been, so I'm not saying this from their history, but all they need to do this year, once they're coming from where they are, is beat a good side like that and get some belief. And all of a sudden, that they can give, and we saw, they can give sides like Benalla a run for their money.
Will Martinello was good too. I forgot about Will Martinello. He was very good again in the midfield.
Okay, well, that's history now. It's all over, and they did particularly well. It was a great game of footy. Benalla football ground in idyllic conditions, let me tell you. Let's get into this week's games. Guy, we'll start you off. Should be a good game of football, this Seymour at home to Mansfield.
Yeah, Will Foxy, Seymour taking on Mansfield. Round 17 last year, Seymour got the job done by 59 points. Round 2, Mansfield by 6 points, so a little bit of a turnaround there. I think, blokes like Bongetti, 5 goals that we just spoke about, Russo, Meredith. I don't know when the O'Keefe boys are back, but...
While out yet.
A little bit yet.
Yeah, I think Sard will be right next week.
Yep. Scanlon, Meredith, Jackson... I think there's some really good signs for Brent Colwood down there at Seymour Land at the moment. And, moving over to Mansfield, I don't know how far Burberry's away. I don't know whether that was a soft tissue injury, but, getting blokes like himself, Boone, I think Sheehan's going to be, from the weekend I saw him walking around in a moon boot, so I reckon he could be a few weeks off yet with his ankle. But they really need it. They need some key players back into that side, I believe, for Mansfield to have any chance against Seymour this week.
Johnny, do you rate Mansfield any sort of chance? That'd be hard to beat at home.
Well, I was one of those blokes that had them going up towards the 6, and no, I don't think they'll go anywhere near Seymour.
Too many injuries?
Yeah, I think Seymour will just get better and better now.
When you nominate blokes, John, I'll ask you, Burberry, Nick Gray, the other boy that...
Boone.
Yeah, Boone,
Yeah.
Sheehan.
Yeah.
That probably represents... to your side each week, would it be fair to say 25, 30 handy possessions?
Per head?
No, I'm saying quality possessions.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone can get possessions, but I'm saying quality, let's get something out of them.
It probably represents 8 to 10 goals with those sort of players in your side.
Yeah.
If not more. But, you can only go with what you got. Now, we can't sit back and make excuses because they've got injuries. They've got injuries. Everyone's going to get injuries. And at the moment, they're just going to have to work their way through it. And I just can't see them coming up with Seymour Fox any way, shape or form.
And you're right, Johnny. That's where these good sides, that's where if they have some players, some of their what we call their A-grade players that go down, that's where what we call the second-tier players, if you like, then pick up and generate. And really... So that's where Mansfield, I think, really need to inject that. It's their second-tier players who really now need to step up.
Exactly. And I think you'll find this year... the depth is going to be a big problem with a lot of clubs.
Clean sweep, we all agree that Seymour will get the money?
Yeah, I'll go for Seymour. Yeah.
Okay, this should be an absolute beauty. And the Swans will be playing host to United at home. The Swans, well, they've certainly surprised me. They're going along beautifully. And United, well, they might have let me down a little bit on the weekend on the scoreline. But, John, how do you see this game?
Yeah, look, it'll be interesting last year, the 2 games, because the Swannies, they had a good win at the weekend with 43 points. And, of course, United got done by 39. But round 3, the Swans won by 12 points. And then, of course, remember the famous draw in round 16, Foxy. But I just think in this game... just some of the matchups, Bell against Neves, it's going to be a really, really important sort of a matchup, that one. Side bottom and Healy, Overs and DeBell, Keys, does he go to Curry? Campbell to McInerney, a good dual, Foxy, will be Quade Johnson. He is playing really, really good football, Quade Johnson, and he's going to come up against Sean Hoy, who's playing absolutely magnificent footy. Madden, he's kicked 7 last week, so obviously we got him out of that pocket, Foxy, and he's going up all right, Harry, at the moment. So what's he kicked? He's kicked 11 for the year so far, Madden. Well, you know, then you got Reardon, there's Lubigo, and Tonowidge, Burls, Tinkler, Campbell. Look, some of the matchups are just going to be absolutely magnificent, and it's going to be a really, really good game. United, after last week, you know, they'll be smarting a bit now. They'll be thinking, but the Swans are just going along nicely, the Swans.
Guy, in a game of this nature, would you play Reardon up forward or down back?
I'd probably play him up forward, boys, I reckon.
Against United, I'll probably start him back, steady the ship, and then maybe throw him forward if I have to. And that's what they seem to do with him. They start him back there and then throw him forward.
They reckon boys Luby possibly has got the first 2 games of the year, probably best on ground each game.
He's kicked 8 goals already. He's been
Good player.
He's a great player. There's no doubt he's a really quality player. But Quade Johnson, he's and BJ Squires through the midfield, Foxy. They've just got that bit of leg speed there, and I reckon the Swans are a very hard side to beat at home.
Where is it? At Princess Park.
At Princess Park.
Yep.
Did Antonovich continue on his good vein of footy from the week before?
Well, I think they're using him up the ground a little bit more, and I think he's become a more team player. Like the first game we went and seen him play, I was really impressed against Maroubin, the way he played the game.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, it'd be interesting to see which way the tide will turn here. John, who do you think's going to win it?
I'm going the Swans.
Why?
I just like their leg speed, and I like them at home.
Okay. Guy?
Yeah, pretty hard to go against Swans at home, but I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go United, boys.
I'm going with me dad. I'm going the Swans because of the leg speed factor and the home ground.
Isn't that
makes
sweet?
a big difference. All right, now we're going to move on to a great game for you to talk about, Guy. But before we do, I'll tell you, we've got some footage of just how close people can get from the Euroa Football Club. And we've got a bit of a shot here of Adam Tarrant and the coach, Nathan Gilliland. And after the game, you can all see it for yourselves now. They like to get together and, well, you work it out for yourself. But Guy, you're knocking around with those blokes. Euroa Benalla, tell us why and where and how.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting game, this, boys. But I think, let's be realistic. And this, just to mention too for the viewers, this is a night game over at Euroa next week. But I think, to be realistic though, Euroa is going to have to be really on their game this week against Benalla.
How do you match blokes like Mellington, Lockie Smith? Does he start forward or does he start back? And blokes like Nick Warnock. Who do you reckon some of the players that would go to those sort of players?
Yeah, look, I mean, depends where they keep playing Smith, JR. He obviously was really good up forward last week, but I still like him down back too. If he goes forward, I would probably say Tarrant would have the job on Smith.
Yeah.
Mellington, he's a pretty hard matchup, Mellington, because he's got that sort of proppy nature and quick. I would say probably someone like a Ben Barker or someone with that sort of agility. But it'll be an interesting game. I think if Euroa's going to have any chance here, they're going to have everyone at 100% efficiency.
Yeah.
It can't be, playing. We're obviously going to be playing the best side in the competition. So, blokes like Lockie Smith and Martin Allo and Luke Morgan and these sort of blokes, Euroa around the ground are just going to have to be, on their game for the whole time. Some interesting things last week for Euroa. Some young blokes like Max Gleeson, Riley Bergstein, Dave Mole injecting some real pace for Euroa. So they were pleasing signs. But I think, it's going to be the test for Euroa this week for the best side in the competition.
John, I want to talk to you about two boys that we've said for a couple of years they can really play the game, but I'm excited by the way they're playing their footy at the moment. That's the Paul Pratts, nutty and nuttier. There's no other way to describe them. They're hard at it. They're fair to them. They have made themselves a real deal at this level now, haven't they?
Yeah, I watched Zach at the weekend very closely. I'm just going to call him a fox terrier now because he's those little fox terriers that come in and start nipping at your ankles all the time, and you just want to kick him and slap him. Well, that's what he does. He just keeps nipping at him, and he just flicks him on the ear as he's going past. You can see why he's always wrestling. He's got that little man syndrome,
No, he hasn't. I'll tell you what, they've stripped all right. They've built themselves up a bit. They're working part-time woodcuts.
As I said, that second quarter, what he did in the second quarter, that was absolutely outstanding. But, I like the way he plays. I like the way he nigs them. And as you said, Jake across the halfback playing well. I got him going last year when I didn't put him in the top 50. That really got him stirred up. Hey, but But, where Euroa going to have the trouble is Sammy Martin through the midfield of the weekend was him, Will Martinella, James Martinella, and Morgan. Their prime moves, you've got to try and shut them down. The forwards can't kick goals and if you stop the prime movers getting the ball to them. But and even, as we said, James Martin, he's a bloke now that's getting under the radar, but I thought his game at the weekend was terrific. And look, I just think, but I reckon Benalla will be brave.
Well, now the fellow who did his collarbone did it fairly badly. He's only going to get better.
Ryan Colbert.
Yeah.
Oh, he was good across the half back line.
Yeah, I thought his second half probably wasn't as effective as his first half, but I tell you what, he's got a bit on.
But I did.
He can play a bit, the boy.
I was a bit amazed in their first half. Well, probably through the pressure of Seymour too, but the way they turned the ball over, Benalla, which is a bit unusual for him. So, but I reckon Benalla aside, if you can maintain it, you've got to put an enormous amount of pressure on them, trying them to force to turn the ball over.
Guy, you've seen Marchbank play. How's Johnny Echuca going to go against? Or I hope they'll pronounce it right that time. How's he going to go against him?
Echuca.
Sorry, John, I've done it again.
John Echuca.
Echuca. Ooh, that's not a good
But how's
thing.
he going to go?
It'll be a good duel. I mean, he's a very athletic sort of ruckman, so he's not your sort of 6'6", solid. He's got a very good leap on him. It'll be a good duel.
Marchbank was good at the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 in a row.
I think Marchbank's the sort of play when you're playing against him, you've got to jump into him.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he'll just dominate with the palms.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's have a look at who do you think's going to win and for why, John?
Oh, look, I'll go Benalla. The last year, round 2, they won by 43, and of course 17, they won by 131 points. But I think Euroa will be brave. They'll take it up to them for a while. But Benalla, that sort of side, when they decide to put the juggernaut down like they did, they're 1 point down, they kick 7 in the third quarter, and they're the sort of side that can do this and break a game open. So, yeah, I'd go for Benalla.
Who are you going for, Guy? I know who you've got to go to.
Yeah.
No. If you want my loyal pick, I mean, obviously I'd probably go Euroa, but I am a realist, and I think Benalla will win, but I think I agree with you, Jay. I think Euroa will be brave and have a crack, but to get over the line, I mean, how many tags can you try and run in midfield? You can't run 5 tags. So.
I think what you have to do is just play. Every player's got to play on a side like this. You've got to play accountable football. You can't run tags. There's too many of them. So you're on him. That's him. You got him for the day.
There's your
Well,
job.
I was just about to ask you that, John, and it's a valid point. Throw away the tag and roll. Don't give anybody a job. Whoever you line up on and just good luck.
Old-fashioned football.
Old-fashioned footy. And that's the only way you can approach
And
it.
whoever gets Lockie Smith, you're in trouble.
All the best.
That's
I love him in my side, Lockie.
They've got too much class.
So, clean sweep Benalla. Okay, John, last game that we're going to talk about this, and this is going to be a beauty. Tat at home to the Murray Bombers.
Yeah, look, it's. I actually think it's a crucial game for both clubs there. I think, like Tat lost by 71 points last week and Echuca lost by 51 points. But I think just for momentum in their club and just to get a bit of interest around the club, I think this is very, very important for the Bulldogs. The big thing with the Bulldogs, James Wall, they said he was absolutely fantastic last week along with Ryan McGough. Will they play? Do they go to Richmond? And on the injury list, Jamison Daniels could have a bit of a knee. Tommy Miller, I think, will miss, and Liam Morelli will miss. So there could be some big outs, and that could make a huge difference to the Bulldogs. Billy Lovell, playing really good football at the moment. Billy Lovell, I think the selectors at the interleague would nearly have to have a look at him, to be in the squad. He's playing really good football. Young Flynn's been good. Sean Martin has been really good for him. And the old master, your tip, everyone still reckons you're on something. Curbs for the medal, but he's kicked 4 and he's got 9 goals. On the other side of it, Echuca, Simon Buckley has been really good for him. He kicked a couple last week. Jackson, you got Collins, Matty Pollock. We know how good he is. Magna Bosco, Ives and Wilkerson. So, look, they've still got a sprinkling of good players, both sides. But I think just with the Bulldogs, if all these blokes are out, then Echuca win. If they all play, then the Bulldogs are a chance.
Guy, is there anything you want to add to that, mate?
Oh, it'll be an interesting game. Just looking at that, JR, I mean, obviously you'd probably have as good an insight as anyone there. But yeah, I mean, if the coach, Jamison Daniels, doesn't come up and you lose, blokes like Wall and McGough, that definitely puts a hole in their side. Yeah. But, for both sides, I think it'll be a good game of footy. For me, I would say Tat at home, but that's where we're talking about like Mansfield before, so that, your Tats and your Echucas when these blokes go down,
Yep.
this is where a test of character, for your younger blokes, blokes like Warnett, Martin, Billy Lovell, obviously he's a good player, but they're the blokes who then really need to stand up and fill that void. But for me, I would say Tatura at home.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a draw. I hate saying that, but I reckon the game could nearly be a draw. There you go.
Yeah, I think if them blokes are out, I reckon Echuca will get over them.
All right then. Now look, Johnny, we're just about to wind up, but Guy won't be with us next week. You'll have Mario, myself, and John Ryan here all throughout the show next week. But after that, we're going to introduce a section called Morphs Mailbag, where you can send us off an email, and if you've got any questions that you want to ask Morph, well, we'll just do it right across the thing. But I'll give you the address next week. Haig will put it across the bottom of the screen there. You'll be able to take notice of it. But if you can think of any questions you'd like to ask on any topic whatsoever, for example, Jimmer Smith can't get a Sheila. Can we find a Sheila for Jimmer Smith?
Now,
Jimmer, we're going to give you some help here.
Yeah,
You've got to hit the soap, mate. You've got to hit the tub.
Yeah, you've got to hit the tub for a
Mate,
start.
that's it. And get the people walking up to you going like this, they're doing that for a reason, Jimmer. We're trying to help you, mate.
But what he wants them to be 6 foot. She wants the girl 6 foot tall,
House trained.
good looking.
Yep, glamour.
But she's got to be rich.
Yeah.
Because he said, I got no money.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
She's got to be
And
rich.
he's got no job for a little while, so
Yeah.
he could be.
Sounds like farmer wants a wife.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But anyway, Jimmy, we put it out there for you.
we've
So
done
you send us
everything
the
we
phone
can.
number and we'll put the phone number over.
But don't forget, it's a new component of the show, and you can send us on any topic you want to. You might want to say, get rid of Foxy or get rid of JR, or I've got one for Jimmer. And we'll
Keep it clean and don't abuse me, please.
Yeah, alrighty. So until next week, on behalf of Guy Morfitt and John Ryan, bye-bye.